Hey guys, yeah, I got my previous Uber passenger here. He had such a good recollection of a ghost story he had when he was a kid that I actually went back to the bar where he worked to get it on camera. And then this is, I'll call him P over here. So P has a really good story to tell you guys. You're in for a treat here. All right, P, take it away, man.
All right, brother. So basically what happened is my grandma and grandpa used to live over in Greenville, which is going to be in kind of Northern California. And they lived in a place called Greenville, which was known as a ghost town. Now, this ghost town, it wasn't necessarily because it just had a bunch of ghosts. It was just kind of a dying town, but they had its history and everything. So where my grandma and grandpa bought their house, it was they got it for a really, really good price. It was a regular house, and then there was a back guest house and everything right behind it. And so for the longest time, we were always told as kids, you know, whenever we would go and visit, you guys can do whatever you want. It was one of those places we got to basically go, you know, a couple blocks down to the creek, do whatever we pretty much wanted. It was, you know, it was safe. Everyone knew each other there. But we always were told the house that we lived in had a history, but we don't want to know it because they don't want to freak us out. And they told us the only rule that was ever done is we were never allowed to go into the basement that was connected to the back house. Now, there, you know, this happened for a while, and for about 2 years, my cousin and I, as soon as you get told something, especially as, you know, a young boy, that's exactly what you're going to be wanting to do. So for about 2 years, we searched everywhere that we could to try to find this key that unlocked the basement to the back. Well, finally, we found it in the little pre-made shed that was in the middle of the driveway that was just before that back guest house that was connected right next to the side house. Now, once we got this key, we knew that this was going to open up the little basement. So we waited till the right time. Now, you know, our family, they were drinkers. So we knew that, you know, eventually one of the nights they were going to go out to the bars. And as soon as they did that, that's when we were going to make our move. And so we got lucky. It was actually during the day. And during one of the days and everything like that, they were, you know, all the adults went out. They went out to the bars. They were going to do their stuff. So my cousin and I decided, all right, we're going to go ahead. We're going to grab this key, but we're going to take the dog that, you know, was a guard dog that we had with us. Now, this dog was a little fucking badass. He was a German Shepherd, did not fear anything. He was a meanest little motherfucker unless he knew you. And, you know, my grandpa, he was the one who basically told this dog all the time, whoever it is he's supposed to protect, he would talk to him in Spanish. And the one time that he said it in Spanish, this dog was always right by our side, the nicest little sweetest thing to us, but then he would, you know, do that. So we opened up the basement. And as soon as we opened it up, literally right in front of us, it was literally just like fog. We weren't quite sure what that meant. We kind of thought, you know, maybe like our uncle and everything was bullshitting us and everything like that. Well, the dog ran down there. Like I said, this dog was a badass. And he went down there, and out of nowhere, we all of a sudden heard like a yelp, like, oh, and it freaked us the fuck out because we've never heard this dog do this. So, you know, we're looking at each other. We're kind of getting a little bit worried. And we're like, fuck it, let's go ahead and do it. Like, you know, no, you're pussy, no, you're pussy. All right, let's just go down there together. So we start walking, and literally this is a thick fog until we hit that very bottom and we entered there. And as soon as we did, it completely entered. There was no fog whatsoever. We had our flashlight. It was dark. And as soon as we turned it on, all that we can see were caskets spread out all over the place. And it scared the shit out of us. And in the very, very back, we saw the dog. And we told him to come here, and he was literally just in the back of the room, like in a little bit of a sit stance and shaking. You could tell he was scared to shit, and we've never seen him like that. We're like, you go get him. No, you go get him. No, you're pussy. No, you're pussy. So finally, one of us decided, all right, I went and got the dog, brought him back. As soon as we got to that stair, the dog took off. He's never left our side. He took off out of there faster than anything. And we're like, holy shit. So we look back and we see that there's, you know, a casket that's closer to us. So again, being young, we're going to test each other. I said, since I went and I, you know, got the dog, you need to open the fucking casket. My cousin goes over it. He opens the casket, and I shit you not, it literally just looked like a skeleton, but in a gown, like a bridal gown. And we screamed. We got so fucking scared. We ran straight out of there. We didn't close it. We didn't do anything. We ran straight out of there. We shut down the little doors that opened up to the basement and everything like that. We put the chain back on, put the key right back where it was at, locked it up, and we were scared shitless. Now, for a little while, adults didn't come back, and we kept on feeling that we heard like noises outside. Once the adults got back, we started feeling chill. Well, it was time to go to bed, and we always slept in that back little house and everything like that, and the corner little kitchen part with our uncle who lived in the bedroom. Now, my cousin and I were sleeping, and all of a sudden, we both got extremely fucking cold. Now, this is the middle of summer, so it does not get cold there. And he and I got like cold, where we were shivering, and all we had was a sheet to cover us because it was obviously always hot. And we looked at each other like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why are we so cold? And when we kind of like looked, we went to go get up to go grab a blanket, and when we looked out the other side of the house, we saw this like smoke, weird, like foggy formation. Like it literally started at the bottom and it slowly just kind of made its way up, but it came up in the form that looked like it was a person, but it looked like it was a person that was almost holding a thing of flowers. And it had just the brightest red eyes, just kind of like in the center, and it didn't look like it was eyes. It just looked like it was almost like two bright red lights, but you could tell they were eyes in the middle of it. And he and I just kind of looked at each other, and we're like, and all of a sudden, this thing started like slowly moving towards us. And he and I, and we were 12, and we came from the street, so we thought that we were badass. He and I screamed like the biggest bitches that we've ever could have like think of. We screamed louder than we ever have. All of a sudden, our uncle runs out of the back room in his room, just straight up in his chonies and everything like that. As soon as that door opened, I can't tell you how quick everything just kind of went away. And he was like, Mijos, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? And we were trying to get out our words, but basically we told him, we're like, there was like smoke and it was like eyes and everything. And before we can even tell him what we did, he was like, gave out the biggest long breath. He's like, did you fuckers find that key and open up the goddamn basement? And we're like, and he's like, don't you lie to me or I'm going to tell your parents. And we're like, and our uncle was cool. So we're like, yeah. He's like, God damn. He's like, you guys opened one of them, didn't you? And we're like, yeah. He's like, motherfucker. And he's like, hold on. He runs out. All he does is get his gym shorts. We hear him walk out of the door. We see where he's going. He grabs the key. We hear him go down there. We know that he went down to the basement. We literally hear this like loud, this loud up. And we're assuming that's him like closing. He comes back up. He later on tells us and everything, he's like, no, I'm going to tell you right now, this house is like haunted. It was known as being a haunted house and everything beforehand. The people who used to live here were like known mass murderers. So they would lure people into this thing as kind of like an old school B&B, and they would kill the people and then they would bury them under their house and they would have it locked. And that's, the kind of shit that they used to do. He's like, so if you go down there and you open any of them, there's a chance that it can do it. He's like, but the one that you guys opened was the last one that got them caught, and it was a bride and groom who went there on their honeymoon, and they told their whole family, and everyone knew exactly what it was, and they finally like did the type of investigation that was like proper, for the day and everything, and they found out what this family was. And for the longest time, this house was on the market because of this. And our grandma and grandpa were like, well, fuck it, we're not afraid of ghosts, we're not afraid of any of this kind of shit and everything like that, so we're gonna go ahead and buy it. It's a great price. They bought the house. When my uncle moved in there too, they all realized this whole entire thing was true. I guess it had happened to them before and everything, but we found out kind of the hard way. And ever since then, anyone who says that ghosts aren't real and anyone who doesn't want to believe me, I really don't give a shit, because I know what I saw, and I've never been more scared in my life, but I've also never realized that I feel that, ghosts and everything like that are real.
Yeah.
It never touched me. It never did anything. I just know the way that I feel, like when it was near me, and I know what I saw.
Yeah.
And again, to this day, it will still scare the shit out of me, because I don't know exactly what they can do, but now I've always been a believer since then. And again, I don't care if anyone believes me, because again, I know what I saw, and I know what I feel, and I know what I believe, and that's what matters to me.
And again, you're not religious at all, right?
I mean, I believe in something, but no, I'm not super religious. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, because it's interesting, right? Because it can happen to anyone. But yeah, I don't know. You nailed every single detail of that pretty much.
I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, you can't make up a story like that and just say it that fast. That's all that I know.
Literally, dude, like I can still feel it. like the nerves, like and shit, like that, just like right. You
had trouble sleeping for a month or so, or something like that.
No, we refuse to fucking sleep in that room anymore. We then instead of like sleeping on like a little blow up mattress, we literally like went into the kitchen.
But you managed to fall asleep that night somehow? No.
Okay. No, he and I, we went into the main house. We watched Three Stooges the rest of the night. And when the adults were there the next day, we took a nap. As soon as they left, we refused to stay there, and we went and we like kicked it at our friend's house. Our next trip over there, we were a little bit like okay, like kind of doing it again. But like when we knew the parents were going to go to the bars and they were going to be gone for like hours, no, we refused to stay there. And then we would bring the dog and we would go stay at our friend's house who like lived a couple houses down. But yeah, no. Never again did we sleep in our uncle's back room. It was always in the main house. We didn't care if we just had to do sleeping bags on the kitchen floor and be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We didn't need that like little damn mattress that they had back there. So scared the shit out of us.
Sorry again. So you said like your grandparents had like bought the house and your uncle moved in or something like that, or?
So when he bought the house and everything, he basically moved in around the same exact time that he did. He helped them kind of like rebuild the house, and he was just one of those ones that he's kind of always been with them.
That makes sense. So he was the one who came in and was like, you guys opened the casket.
Oh yeah, and he was. I mean, he flat out told us he was the one who like originally had done that, and he knew exactly what it was.
Wow.
And he said that he was warned by different people around there like what would happen, and he wanted to test it, but also. My uncle isn't all there, so he did it. And he thought it was funny. He thought us getting scared was funny.
Oh wow!
It didn't scare him at all, but to us,
he's like, no big deal, just a ghost with red eyes.
We were 12.
Yeah.
When it first happened.
That's horrible.
All the way up until 14, we still refused to sleep in that fucking, and again, we grew up on the streets. We're not really afraid of most shit.
Can you look up this murder story? Like, that would be amazing.
If you can, like I said, it's in Greenville, California. It's about, I want to say maybe, like I said, about 2 hours outside of like Paradise, Oroville and everything. But yeah, I mean, they have a whole thing in it like that, but there should be a whole history and everything like that. I've honestly never Googled it.
I might have to look that up in the paper.
I would love if you do, dude.
That would be pretty interesting.
So I've never actually looked it up in Google on any of that stuff because when this all happened, this was before really like Google or any of the main internet shit happened.
Yeah, so you didn't know, you didn't bother.
And
it's been like so long.
I've just known.
It's like 15 years ago, 20 years ago? Or?
Let's see.
Yeah, 15 years ago, right?
Yeah, but I'd say about closer to 18, dude.
Oh, 18.
About 18 years ago, yeah.
Oh wow.
And that's when when we first went there. But apparently, this happened in like the early 1900s.
Okay.
So if you look up,
it might be there, it might not be.
Yeah. Honestly, if you look up the history of Greenville, and there's like some people that have been there for the whole life, I can see like them knowing like all the stories. But yeah, there's a lot of crazy stories around there.
All right, man.
There's apparently like a ghost mine up there around there too that's supposed to have like a shit ton of silver and gold that. People go up, they went to go look, and they've just never been seen it from again.
Oh, wow.
Again, I don't know what's like myths, I don't know what, but like literally when they call it a ghost town, I'm starting to think it's not just because the town was starting to die out, I'm thinking it's because of
there's something else going on there, like human sacrifice or something crazy like that. All right, Pete, that was perfect, man. Thank you so much.
No problem,
I'll let you, I know you got to make some money here, so thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, guys, that was a good one, right? Bye.